So the topic that I want to explore today is the Terminator franchise, and where does it go from here after really kind of the lackluster reception that Terminator Dark Fate received. So for my money, and I think for most fans' money, you know, Terminator 1 and 2 are the height of this franchise without any questions being asked. I consider them to be equally good science fiction classics. I prefer T2, but they both, you know, really stand out as just the epitome of what great sci-fi action is, and all the sequels that came after just don't come anywhere close. A quick recap, you've got Terminator 3, which I think had a great ending and some enjoyable elements in it, but again, nowhere close to the success or the greatness of T1 or T2. Terminator Salvation was an entertaining movie, but it ultimately felt kind of hollow, and the ambiance and the atmosphere just did not mesh with the Terminator universe, especially when it comes to sort of the threatening and hostile nature of that future war that we all wanted to see. After that, you had Terminator Genesis, which I think had a great idea in a way, you know, sort of critiquing sort of our contemporary environment and sort of our willingness to let machines and the internet sort of control and dictate our lives. And even that opening sequence where they revisit the first movie and recreate some of those things, I thought that that was relatively cool how they did that. But again, ultimately, it just did not feel like a Terminator movie. Then you've got Dark Fate, the most recent movie, which I think had the best villain of the sequels. I think the Rev 9 was the most threatening after the T-1000, but again, a lot of people had major issues with the way that movie opens. I'm not going to spoil it, but if you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The way it plays out and how it dismisses Skynet and introduces a new entity called Legion, I just thought it, again, felt a little bit flat and not super engaging, and of course, nowhere near as good as T1 or T2. Now, recently, I have played Terminator Resistance on my PlayStation 5. This was actually a PS4, Xbox One, and I think PC game that came out a couple of years ago. And I really enjoyed it. It nailed the music of the Terminator movies. It had the ambiance, the look, sort of the threatening nature. The story was good, not great. That was mostly due to some kind of stilted dialogue that a number of reviewers and video game commentators talk about if you want to go look that up. But ultimately, that's the kind of thing that I want from a future Terminator movie. This may be a little bit controversial, but I really do think that they need to sort of remove Schwarzenegger from the mix. They don't need to come up with these continued ideas of him existing as sort of an aging cyborg and structuring the movies around that. I think at this point, what we all want is a future war movie, much like what we get in the Terminator Resistance game, that has the correct atmosphere, the correct ambiance. I think the only way to do that probably is to have James Cameron direct it. I don't know that that's even remotely a possibility. He's obviously very wrapped up in Avatar right now and the various sequels that have spawned off of that. But for my money, I think that's the only way this is going to get back to form. And so I think what we're really presented here with are two options, right? Either don't make any more Terminator movies, just let it lie as it is, or continue with alternative media, right, such as games and comics and novels, and let the universe grow in that way. And I guess really this is a third option, make a movie and let James Cameron do it. That's the only way that this is going to be what we all want it to be. So anyway, those are my thoughts on where the Terminator franchise could go or should go, and I'm curious to hear what you think about this. If you would, please leave your comments below the video and let's have a little bit of discussion about this.